Why are we so afraid? Hello, friend. Thanks again for being here. There's an old saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. I remember as a kid, I used to wonder about that saying. I really liked it, but honestly, it made me a little afraid. Even to read that saying made me a little afraid, but I didn't know why. Decades later, I still hadn't figured out why fear kept popping up in my mind. Sometimes it was specifically about something in particular, and other times it was just a vague feeling of impending doom of some sort. I would think, darn it, okay, now that asteroid will hit right in front of my face. Or now there will be a giant earthquake opening up a huge cavernous bottomless chasm below me, swallowing me up whole. Or similar silly thought. Never did these things happen. Thank God, I think. Maybe it would have been better if those things did happen or had happened. Does any of it matter? Well, not really. And this is because matter does not matter. It seems that all fear is rooted in the basic fear that we will somehow, eventually, experience death in some way. Whether it be a small death, such as being embarrassed due to some perceived failure, or in some big dramatic way, such as being hit by a bus as we cross the street, or spontaneously combusting at the most inappropriate time, such as right before we say, I do, at the altar to our beautiful bride. Did you ever think that maybe fear is just covering up the most wonderful outcome that could happen to us? I know I have always been very happy each time I had faced fear head on and ran towards it, because each time I have done that, the feared thing disappeared as I'd come near it, exposing the fact that fear is a fraud. Always something wonderful happens when I face my fears and think, bring it on. Maybe if I did fail, or would spontaneously combust, I'd realize that it was the best thing that could have happened. Maybe that bride that I was about to say I do to was actually going to end up strapping me to the bed in the night and killing me slowly by inserting hot, rusty nails into my body one at a time until I screamed and bled to death. Oh, that's a gruesome thought. My point is this. Maybe there is nothing to fear. Maybe everything that we fear actually is nothing, and that we are afraid of nothing because nothing can't be understood or explained or seen very clearly. Maybe that nothing is scary also because, well, God could not have created nothing, so nothing must be evil or at least not to be trusted and better avoided at all costs. Maybe that nothing we fear is actually nothing to fear because, well, how can nothing hurt us? The truth is that nothing can't hurt us because it has no real power. But our thoughts do have power. There are no idle, there are no neutral thoughts. Our thoughts either spin fearful illusions we think we then believe after we think we see them, or they show us what we co-created with God, which demonstrate their real existence by generating verifiable, happy effects and outcomes. Each thought manifests witnesses, even if the witnesses are false. Heavenly thoughts, or those thoughts that match the ones thought by God, appear as a type of reflective vision that proves that we had always hoped for actually already exists, but are perceived or judged against as unrealistic by worldly standards, because clear and bright ideas that make total sense can't be real to the completely confused thought system of the ego. What is unrealistic is a world that shows us things it crowns with its own badge of reality, but cannot be real because the ideas make absolutely no sense. But because we believe in them, they seem to prove their reality to us all the time. Problem is, time is not real, and it takes time to judge against something, so why would we believe in an idea that can't be real because it's in the past, happening in something as unreal as time, thought of by something as unreal as separated bodies, living apart from God, who is all that really is. Did you know that any idea we think that has nothing to do with God's heaven, with a mind that could never be, is just a type of wishful thinking? God created heaven. It stretches out in every direction and overlaps everything, enveloping it. It even floods over the fake reality which we fear we are imprisoned in. God's reality surrounds everything, immerses everything, and seeps into every true and false idea. God's reality is inevitable and is completely safe from all unreality. Therefore, only God is real. It can't be seen with the body's eyes, but the body is not real, and because it's not real, it's God's will that we can't lose sight of Him. He has given us the ability to see what He created through a special vision given us already by Him before time began. We already have it. Now we need to stop denying we have it by obsessively weaving illusions to try to avert false fear so we can notice the elephant in the room: God. In fact, we have everything God ever wanted to give us the moment He gave it, because when God gives something, it must be received. Something cannot be given if it's not received, and when God wills something, there is no option for it to not happen. Thus, we must already have received a vision which has shown us that fear is nothing and love is everything. Concepts such as time couldn't possibly exist as an idea in God's mind because it contradicts His timelessness, nor that could space and matter exist, contradicting God's spirit nature, nor ideas such as being born and dying. Why? Because God was never born and could never die, and because we are God's extension. We too can never be born nor die. God cannot create anything unlike Himself, so it's an alien concept that could never hold up to the flawless and perfect ideas that God thinks. When we are ready to accept our reality as it is, instead of as how we would have it be, then we'll realize that we already have it. Just as the light puts out darkness simply by being what it is, truth puts out lies simply by being what it is. It's as simple as that. I know I'm supposed to be simplifying concepts here, and the statements I just made are a simplification. But if I take it to its most simple reasoning, it probably would be disregarded instantly because the ego's thoughts are so convoluted that simplicity and straightforwardness appear to it as just fantasy. This is the simple answer of God to what we perceive as the threat, which breeds the fear that appears so scary and in so many dreaded forms. Nothing real, truth, light, life, love, you, can be threatened. Nothing unreal, lies, darkness, time, death, fear, not you, exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And all power is of God. What is not of Him has no power to do anything. You are of God. Truth is of God. So you have all power. But you cannot be given power to create what is not of God. So then, why do we think we see the effects that seem to counter God's will? Because, my friend, we are deluded. Like a person experiencing temporary insanity, we see what's not there to see. There are reasons for this, but you will have to stick with me until we get to a point where we can explain how you can see what's not there and how it can seem to have effects and how it is that none of it matters. During the times of Jesus on earth, He was constantly in situations where everyone around Him saw reasons to wail and be very sad or angry, but Jesus didn't see those things, and He didn't respond in those ways. What He saw was something completely different. He would see something lovely out of the same thing. It is given us to see the same thing as He saw in any situation we find ourselves in. You see, the way Jesus saw things, using the Holy Spirit's vision, not only made Him unwaveringly happy, but also had the power of God in it. which is why he was able to perform miracles and why he didn't mind having his body crucified. He knew that matter didn't matter and that he wasn't a body. We could be that way too if we wanted it. My next video, titled, "Do You Trust God Enough to Give Him Back the Helm of Your Life?" I will talk about what we seem to be experiencing is all a matter of want. In this world, once trust is broken by anyone or anything, it's very hard to trust again. But don't be fooled. To stop trusting is a trap. Real trust does not question. Real trust does not judge everything, every passing moment, to come up with reasons to doubt it. It's trust. You have to want trust to be true, and to have it, you must give it.